Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I am so glad to be here with you today. Hey, Tanya, you're here early. I owe you lots of responses over on YouTube. I am behind on answering everyone. So I'm glad to see you here today. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Philippa. Philippa went horseback riding recently. I saw those pictures. That's awesome. I used to be all about the horses. So I am glad to be here today. Let's see, let's see. First, somebody give me a sound check, make sure that I got tech support, not me, but tech support did all the hard work on the computer recently because, it's always acting up. So as long as you can hear me okay, I will switch cameras. Your TV is always behind your phone by about 3 seconds. Yeah, it's the lag is real, right? Sound is great. Okay, let me switch the cameras around. Hi, Huya. Glad to see you here today. Let's see. Tally's decided to come out. It cracks me up. She will not stay in the studio with me when I'm in there, but when she hears the music for the live stream, she comes out here. All righty. So if you saw the thumbnail, I'm going to do something with beads today. So here's the thing. On the Wildscapes, I make a lot of these little, hi Sue, these little puff balls, and they can be imagined to whatever you want. And now I'm working on some different projects, including thinking about underwater and the coral reefs and stuff. So I need some different colors. And I was thinking, well, I can do some that are just fabric. Yeah, she knows the routine already. I can also add some with beads to get that sparkle that we know that happens underwater. So I don't remember why I have. Hey, Martha, right? Do I get it right? Martha? Hope you're doing good today. I have these beautiful beads. I have no idea why I have so many because usually I only have enough to go in these little containers. So I must have fallen in love with them. And of course, I'm needing to use them up. So, hey, Joanne. If you guys didn't see the announcement that I posted before the stream started, I have a newsletter that's going to go out a little bit later today. And if you want to follow a little bit more in depth about what I'm doing creatively and stories about certain art pieces that you guys have watched me working on, you might want to go sign up. Okay, I'm going to make these a little bigger. Yeah, I just figure it kind of looked like something that would be underwater because I have to allow these darker blue ones are going to be really tiny because by the time you gather it and stuff it, they're going to be very little. But those beads begged to be used. And I've got some, was it these? I think I can use one of these two had the holes big enough. Yeah, Martha. Okay. Yay. I got it right. All right. I won't try to cut two at once. I just want to round the corners off. They don't have to be precise circles. The idea is just to give the illusion. I tried doing some that were, hey, mouse, this kind of a shape, and they didn't do it for me as much. Maybe more in the wildscapes than underwater. So I've been studying a lot of pictures on Pinterest about coral reefs and underwater things. And oh, Tanya, you would love all the beads. I mean, there's like, I don't know, 10. I should have done it when the studio was clean and now it's a mess again, but I need to do another studio tour. But if you go back and look at any of my previous studio tours, you will see all the beads. All right, so I think I'm just going to concentrate on blues today because it's easy. Hey, Andrea, I have, this was crochet. I think when I was making vessels, I was using this for stitching. Hey, Kat, I was wondering where you were today. So I'm just going to randomly, and I just need to make sure I leave some room for gathering these things because so I just kind of need clusters in the center, I think. I don't know. This is, like everything, it's an experiment, and sometimes the experiments work. I'm trying to see if I've got room. Let's see. Let's do the big ones first. Andrea, and those of you that came in a little later, I'm thinking in terms of underwater, and they need some sparkles. And so I will, gather them when they're done and stuff them. I literally almost grabbed French knots today. Let's see, do I have tape? I don't have tape. Oh, well, we'll have to take off the dog hairs one by one. Just because it's been frustrating and I'm just trying to let things go. And I thought I usually go to the French knots, and I thought, well, I think maybe this will be mindless enough, and they have to be done. So what is everybody working on? Kat, you still working on terrariums? Andrea, I don't remember what you were, I think you were kind of trying to figure out what you could take with you when you traveled. Joanne, what have you been working on lately? And I did post a link to the website and to sign up for the newsletter. There is one going out later today. It is a long read, but it is more about the story of the Heart of Gaia that you may want to make sure you get. Yes, Tanya, I love Judith's book. Essential Stitch Guide has beautiful seascape in it. Yeah, she kind of got me started thinking about more texture. And although she does more flat work, it's textural flat work. And by flat work, I just mean something that doesn't come up quite as much as mine does. I had a whole bunch of other colors I wanted to do, and then I realized I did not have thread that would work. Tanya said, have you considered doing a book about your naturescapes, the different stitches you used? Maybe down the road. You know, some people would like a class. I think about that, but I'm kind of, yeah, I'm kind of, you'll see with the newsletter, kind of between the, I'm in a transitional zone right now. I'll put it like that. Yeah, Philippa, aren't her books great? I think I have 2 or 3 of them. Ooh, Kat is working on a commission, boy, I'm going to struggle on that word. Whatever that, an insect on a baseball cap. Similar, but you do so much bigger, 2D versus 3D. Yes. Ooh, Martha's doing hummingbirds. Lots of hummingbirds for a show this weekend. Congratulations on getting into the show. I hope you sell a lot. Hey, Barbara. How are you doing today? Yeah, I'm thinking underwater right now, and my underwater ideas need some sparkle. So I have these beautiful beads, and I'm going to sew a bunch on the top, and then I'm going to gather them. Joanne says, working on the yard, but lots of ideas for altered frames. Glad you're working with blue today. That's going to be the color scheme of my next project. Ah, well, if you saw the, I guess I didn't do it in a YouTube video yet. I will. I posted it on Instagram and on Facebook. A bunch of the projects that I had laid out. I had hooped all these things, and then I have a bunch of, so over the years, I have bought a bunch of felt in different sizes and different colors. And they really, you know, when I'm looking at the blues, the purples, the reds, the oranges, I'm definitely thinking, you know, a coral reef kind of thing. Martha, where is your show going to be? Is it anywhere that any of our viewers might be able to go check out your work? That would be exciting to be able to see somebody's work in person that you have met online. Quite a thrill. So of course, there's no pattern. The idea is just to have a beaded thing. And I might get them done and decide I don't like them. I don't know. But I need to try. Michelle said, I've been watching some of your old videos. Well, thank you for the views. I appreciate that. Tanya said, Philippa, I'm jealous. I'm slowly building my library of stitch books over many holidays and birthdays. Slow going. I am going to be selling off a bunch of books, not stitch books, old books for collage and, you know, journaling and that kind of stuff, and mixed media books, paint books, that kind of stuff. So another plug for the newsletter, I will be making those offers to newsletter subscribers. First of all, I don't know whether I'll do it anywhere, any other way. So make sure you're on the newsletter for that. Huya says, hello from Turkey to Susan and all her friends there. Oh, Sue says, I'm trying to recover from the latest exposure. Oh, yuck. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. See, I already don't like these. Let's see, I should probably zoom you in maybe a little bit. I know Aunt says she's drooling. Let's see here. Let's go to this one. And we'll zoom it in just a little. Now, I could be, on some future ones, I could decide to be kind of precise on where I put these, but precision is not me. Precision usually frustrates me. Barbara says, Dear Sue, it's hard to keep from being exposed to stuff. It really is. Okay, so it's going to be one of those days where the thread is knotting on the other side. I am not thrilled with that. Maybe I didn't need to double it because the thread's so thick, but I hate pulling the needle, pulling the thread off the needle all the time, which is what happens. So I'm thinking I will make a pile of these. Oh, look how optimistic I was that I was going to get all of these colors done today. Herrick's Cove in Rockingham, Vermont. It's a wildlife festival. Oh my goodness, beautiful. That's going to be so much fun. I hope you'll be able to take lots of pictures too. Oh, let's see what happens if I try to put two on at once. Let's straighten out I feel like I'm having a Monday on a Wednesday, and that does happen sometimes. Okay, no, I don't like it when I do it like that. They need to be individual. Don't even know where this latest one came from. Several possibles, but nothing definite. Oh gosh, it makes it hard to avoid it in the future. Yes, definitely. I don't wear makeup very often, and so I had bought some makeup for the photo shoot that I had recently. And then I bought some, I just ended up doing that all over again. Then I bought some makeup remover towelettes and forgot to really pay attention when I was buying them, and they had a scent on them. And I just felt my eyes like flared up really bad. I felt like I was going to get a headache. They had to go away ASAP, and it took me the rest of the day to recover from that. Tanya Sue's got a lot of sensitivities to smells and all that kind of junk. So, you go out in the public and you don't know what contaminated things are floating around in there. Kat says that is so tough. I'm sorry, Sue. I struggle with low immunity as well. Kat, I saw some pictures of your latest haul from your estate sale run. Sounds like you have an indulgent spouse as well that let us have all our wonderful collections. And then, of course, as our collections change, something came into the house in this case. Ugh, ick. Oh, bunnies are racing across the front yard. Hello, bunny. Leave my flowers for a little bit longer, please. Chemical fragrances for Barbara. Any perfume? Oh, yeah. And I used to love perfume. Absolutely loved it. In fact, I had a nightmare recently where somebody doused me in perfume and pretty much crippled me. I was like, even the packages from Amazon have become toxic to me. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. All right, next one, I need to not make this a double thread because that's what's getting all looped up on the other side. Oh, goodness. Michelle says, I just like essential oils. Yeah, I can't do those anymore either. Any of that kind of stuff. So let's see. What do we have? Holiday coming up. We're going to be Mother's Day is going to be the next one. Although spring, I don't know where you guys are, but here we have had horrible, gloomy weather, drippy rain that wasn't really enough rain to give us any water, just enough to make it miserable. Fog. Sue says, and of course I order a lot through Amazon because I cannot go into the store. Yeah, you get it from both ways. Kat says that's quite challenging. I have MCAS among other things, and it's always hard to tell what triggers me. I don't know what MCAS is. I don't know if you want to share. Just anything that, sets us off and keeps us from living our, our version of a normal lifestyle is just so frustrating. Well, I may not do as many of these beaded things as I thought I was going to do. Goodness. I guess it's a mindless thing to do. You don't have to think about just putting one bead after the other. But I do think this makes me think of stuff. Kentucky Derby is this Saturday, which is like a holiday in Louisville. Have you ever gone to the Derby? Mast cell activation syndrome. Lots of triggers that basically cause a full body allergic response. Oh, ick. Ick, ick, ick. Yes. And then if you don't know what's causing it, you're in trouble. I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit more because why not? Yeah. So going to the estate sales and things, the musty smells, you do okay with any of that kind of stuff? Because that would sometimes trigger me. Mouse said, I started painting outdoors on the first sunny day, expecting more sunny days, but it's been foggy ever since. My neighbors say I'm not allowed to keep garbage out. Is that what they're calling your painting? That's horrible. Tanya said, my body went haywire after they had to pull out my girly bits. I can only wear natural fabrics now and became lactose intolerant, which is horrible for someone whose family owns a cheese shop. Oh, no. Tanya says, you need new neighbors. I agree. I did put in my application for Open Studios, Mouse. We'll see if I get invited. Kat says, I try not to stay too long at estate sales. Yeah. I think the potential for a lot of things. Joanne said, never been to the Derby. Went to Churchill Downs once on a regular track day. Never been to the racetrack. A lot of horse shows, but not a racetrack. I do think this will have the effect I want, but I'm sort of, when it comes to creating new projects, I'm sort of like somebody that goes to the buffet and feels like this plate, overwhelming with all the food, thinking they're going to eat it all, and they only make like a small dent in it. My eyes are always bigger than my stomach when it comes to projects. Sue said, those are some pretty beads. They are. Thank you. Yeah, I just really like the shimmery stuff. And I can't help but think of shimmery stuff for underwater. But see, if I allow, so I need a small, like about a quarter, I think about the size of a quarter. So I should have probably started with one of the small ones, but oh well. I went on a bead buying spree. I mean, again, indulgent husband kept saying I needed to build the stash. I didn't stop to think about what all I was thinking about the texture scapes. And I am thinking about them again now. I came up with an idea for a series that could be continuing, like small studies. And I'm trying to decide like how small, 5x7, 4x6, 8x10. Uh-oh, do not get stuck on a needle. There we go. If you were going to buy a small piece of art, because if I frame them, then it gets kind of expensive. Should I do 5x7s? Should I do 8x10s? Kat said, I always love the idea of working with beads, but I never know how to incorporate them into projects. It's hard, I find. And I look at other people. If you look at, what's her name? Somebody's going to know. Sharon, I think is her first name, maybe, that does Pintangle. She has a beautiful book too. Just absolutely gorgeous work with beads. Tanya says, you mentioned a buffet just as I was thinking they look like blue caviar. Yeah, all the little beads, they can look like little eggs. Kat says, I feel that 5x7 is very versatile. Yeah, because I'm thinking I wouldn't, and that would be card size too. Yeah, but if I frame them, they wouldn't, I guess you could take them out. I'm thinking, I don't know, my art meeting this week, we were talking about how how to do things at different price points. And that's kind of what I was thinking about, is like if I can do some small studies, and I have an idea that I'm kind of excited about. But she also said that you should have things ready to hang, and I couldn't have things just on paper to hang, like if it actually got invited to a show or something. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I would do them 5x7 size and then stitch them to a piece of watercolor paper at like 8x10. Just kind of throwing ideas around. I was thinking about getting some of the work done into cards, but boy, I was pricing things, and I wouldn't want to sell the cards one individually. I just don't think that's very effective, time effective for me, but man, that would get expensive. Yeah, and what I was trying to decide, I don't like the way that bead is laying, but I'm reminding myself, because I can see the thread right on top. I don't know if you can see the slightly lighter blue, but I can come back around on it again. Oh, that bead didn't look quite the same sparkly. Yeah, just kind of trying to think what would be cost effective and time effective for me, but they could all be like in the same frame. So if I did, say, 5 at a time, and they were, 8x10s, and I would have 5 8x10s that had the same frame and that were kind of, I don't know, unified, cohesive, whatever. But I got to get out of my hump. Kind of like, Sue said, yes, often just going through the bead again will help. That's true. I wonder if I can do that with that one. I'm not going to go through each of these beads a second time, but I might be able to. Thank you for that reminder, Sue. I think that helps. And then I'll go back around it again when I get them all on. Mouse said, do you buy art in the same category as yours from other artists? I haven't seen a whole lot of art in the same category as mine. No, I don't. I don't buy art. Yeah, I don't buy art. We don't have walls here as it is. We have a lot of windows, and I'm trying to figure out where I can hang my big piece and not have it get damaged from the sun. We're going to have to get some UV coating on some windows. So I don't even have room to display a lot of my own art. We have a small house. All right. And while I am going to need to knot that off for right now, all I'm going to do is, I do tend to buy, in the past, I would buy cards from other artists about their art. That's kind of why I was thinking about it. But all right, so I can do that. Let's just take a look. So I do have some red needles. I'll keep that one over there. Kat says, personally, I love buying ceramics of all kinds as well as interesting earrings. My husband buys my jewelry, and it's just beautiful. I have a lot of beautiful earrings. All right, let's do. I think if I do that, it's going to be too small. Maybe like this. Okay. And it doesn't matter that they're not exactly circles, because I can mess with them afterwards. But I know I have, yes, I do have beading needles. Whoops, and I probably already got it, messed up. Just so we can see a little variety. Mouse says, I buy inspiration books. So if there was a photo compilation book, I'm more likely to buy that. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking, well, they were in my art meeting this week, they were talking about things to prepare for a solo exhibition, which is not where I'm at, but she was talking about a catalog. And I thought, well, that might be interesting, is to make a catalog of your work. And I have somebody's, shoot, it was abstract embroidery. She does a lot of things that look like geographic. I need to make a new video of some of these embroidery books that are really inspiring. And the book has a picture of the geographic location that inspired her, and then the art, the embroidery that she created as a result of it. And it's not something I wouldn't want to buy the art. It doesn't appeal to me on that level, but it's very inspirational to think about. All right, so I didn't even see, this is my Monday on a Wednesday. I didn't even get my knot all the way through. So let's fix that first. What are the chances that I can put my hands, oh good, on the wax? Because when you have stuff that's really getting tangled, it does help to run it through the wax. All right. Yeah, I need to do a video on the embroidery books. We've gotten a lot more people following us that are into that. So these do have a sparkle. They're not quite as sparkly, but I figured underwater I would have both of these bright sparkly things. You know, I have a great, and even with that, it's got, oh my goodness. Michelle says, I've been using my wax again. Yeah, it's very frustrating because I have a huge old knot and I don't even know what happened. Wow. This is what I have, a little knot already. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to ignore the knot on the back and we're just going to go forward. I'm sure it's because I cut my threads too long. Something I am known to do. So since all of that's going to have stuffing in it, it really doesn't matter. The water I'm working on, oh my goodness, I have this yarn. It's a beautiful yarn. When you look at it on the skein, it looks like the most beautiful shades of blue and silvers and greens for water. And in fact, the color is called Tidal. And so it's just this, it's beautiful. And it's an acrylic yarn. When I stitch it through my wool, it's pulling apart like it was wool roving. And then the colors, I don't know if it was a self-striping because it was something I got used, but the colors weren't laying right. So I ended up going over everything a second and third time, cutting apart just certain chunks of the blues. And even now, I'm not so sure that I like it. Luckily, it's just a small chunk of water for a small practice piece. Well, not practice piece, but a small piece. This is why I don't do a lot with beads anymore, is because they take a lot of time. No, it's not why. It's just the pieces. When I'm doing the wildscapes and the greens, I want the rocks. But some of the other things that I'm going to be working on going forward will be more using up my bead stash. You know, and I start looking at things thinking, okay, you know, if you use all these things up, you're going to gain a shelf. It's all about gaining space in the studio so you can spread more things out. The goal is to eventually not have any of my stuff out of reach or in the garage. And by out of reach, that means like up on the high shelves in the studio or out in the garage where I have to remember to go out and see what I have out there. Wow. Yeah, it's just getting all tangled back there and I'm not even going to look at it. I'm going to just pretend like it doesn't exist. And one thing I might do on these beaded ones, maybe I'll do one that has more space in between the beads, and then I can weave some fibers and stitch that down in between things. We'll see. Now, so people who crochet with beads are amazing because all the beads have to be on the yarn ahead of time. Oh my goodness, yeah. Out of sight, out of the house. And there are people that have these beautiful workspaces with everything behind closed doors and in covered boxes. And I learned a long time ago that does not work for me because if I don't see it, I forget that I have it. Motto of the truly practiced craftaholic hoarder. Yeah. But I'm really trying. I've got to give myself some time out in the garage coming up, but just to start to clean it up because I couldn't even see where all my stuff is, let alone all the stuff that probably just needs to be thrown away. Sue said, yeah, me too. Out of sight, out of mind. Well, you have such a beautiful, inspirational shelf of all those fabrics in your studio space, Sue. I love it. Mel said, I can't imagine getting to the end of a doily and realizing I've miscounted the number of beads. Wow. Yeah. Kat said, right. And then you buy more because you thought you were out of stock. Oh my goodness. Yes. Or you get to the end of something like, if I only had, a tiny amount of these blue beads left, I would have to stop myself from ordering more because I forget to think, okay, how often do you actually use those? You could probably order more when you actually needed them. Martha said, I have to admit, I love beads. I have to admit, I have a bit of an issue with growing my stash. I think it's 7 shelves of beads. And they're in these little containers. And then if I only have a small amount of the beads, then they're in these because I can get 2 of these in one of those containers. It's crazy. So that's kind of another reason why I'm thinking about small projects where I can use up beads and I have so many blue yarns and yet they're not all suitable for water. So I'm kind of thinking, what else might I want to be doing with blues? So Martha, what kind are you doing? Just stitched hummingbirds? Are you doing textile hummingbirds? Tell us about the hummingbirds that you're making for this wildlife show. Gosh, I wish I could see pictures of it. I bet there's going to be so much inspiration there. Sue said, but that's why they're out, not covered on a shelf. Yeah, whoops, I'm not working with the blues. And look at that. I stopped myself. Mouse says, when you find clothes that fit, do you buy multiples and in all the colors? I tend to be similar in craft supplies. Absolutely, I do that. Since I've been losing weight and needing some clothes that fit right, I went through a bit. I didn't buy multiple pants because I've got the like my jogger leggings, whatever that I work out in, that I'm in most of the time. So I have a couple pairs of jeans that I finally got that fit. But tops, when I found a few styles that I really liked in the new sizes, I absolutely bought them in multiple colors. Especially since I know when I go to look for them again, they'll have moved on to some other style, and my style's always way out of line. I'm never up to date, and I'm okay with that. Sue said, I'm suddenly having to buy bigger clothes. Oh, that's a bummer. I'm sorry for that. I'm not tossing my bigger clothes. I'm just putting them in a bin in the garage. Tanya said, I was watching a video by a lovely young woman who decided to embroider a huge wall tapestry, and the background was all of a particular green. She put it away for 6 months, about halfway through, and when she went back to finish, she realized the green yarn was a Joann's home brand. Oh no, that's horrible. Well, if she looks on eBay and Etsy, I'm seeing a lot of the stuff that Joann's used to carry over there, and people are gouging people on the prices. It's ridiculous. I just had 10 skeins of yarn come from Sweden because I found one that I love to use, and it's discontinued. And this gal in Sweden had 10 skeins of it. It's like, send it to me. It turned out to be a really good price, even with the shipping. Oh, thanks for that reminder, Barbara. Martha, yeah, Martha's making hummingbirds, and I missed part of it. She's felting them. That's right, felted hummingbirds, adding embroidery and beads. And Martha, if you feel like it, if you're not in the Facebook group, we would love for you to join and share some of your beautiful work. Joanne says the hummingbirds sound beautiful. Yeah, Kat, can you imagine? And that's the issue with working big. I do have an idea for a really big project that would be green, but it would be using up all my pieces of greens. Yep, everybody would love to see them. Okay, you're going to post some pictures soon. Yay! I wish more people would ask some questions about each other, or share. If you don't want to share your pictures, ask questions or share other inspiration that you're finding in other people. We would love to see more activity in there, but honestly, I don't have enough energy. I'm just trying to get through my days. Barbara said, thank you so much. Hummers are one of my favorite things. Mel said, I often find projects I've left for a bit have photo bleached, sun bleached. Yeah, I mean, you have to be really careful where you leave them. If you're leaving things in the sunlight, if you leave folded fabric where the sun's coming in, you're going to get fading at the folds. Paper, if you leave paper in the sunlight, those edges are going to get that fade to it. So we need to talk to our contractor when he's here doing the roof about getting some UV coating on the windows where I'd like to hang some more art. Ooh, Barbara said, I got led to try a crazy quilt block. Working on it now. I'll post when finished. In my head, years ago, Rebecca, Crazy Rebecca, I can't remember what her Facebook group and YouTube channel is. I just loved all her crazy quilts, and I even bought some fabric from her. I was going to do one, and then I think I started the Wildscapes. But I love crazy quilts. If I went to an estate sale, that's probably what I would be looking for, is someone's old crazy quilt. Sue said, I have full spectrum lighting in my studio. Some of my folded fabric has faded along the fold lines. Oh, that's a bummer. Especially because it's such an investment, in your supplies. Kat says, ooh, quilting. I would love to try. I have a bunch of supplies in the back of my closet, but I can't find enough free time or energy away from my embroidery to try it. That's it. It's just so hard to pick where your energy is going to go. And I mean, Kat, you're doing these beautiful stump work leaves that I just absolutely love. But I'm thinking, oh my goodness, working with those thin threads just don't excite me. Kat says, that's why I go to the estate sales. There are often antique wood bobbins to snatch up. I have some of those. I haven't done anything with them, but I do have some of those. And they're just sitting on a shelf in the studio. Mel said, Sue, that is a strong light. There's Big Mama Sandy. Hello, how are you feeling? Did you finally get rid of that cold that your lovely grandchild gifted you? Sue said, if I'd used them sooner or refolded them sooner, I wouldn't have had that problem. Kat says, that's okay. I can't handle bigger than fingering weight yarn. Can't handle the texture. Isn't that funny? Certain things like that just really, I can do good with, I think, the variety of textures of yarn and threads. But other things like certain fabrics just like rub me the wrong way. Good, you're all better. Yay. Barbara said, cat quilting is fun. I've made lap size and child size for years, but no longer feel comfy pushing it around on my sewing machine. Now I'm trying embroidery. And our interests in our crafty stuff evolves as we either, we achieve something, we figured out, okay, I wanted to make this thing and I made this thing, and now doing that again doesn't interest me anymore. which has happened to me a lot, or we just decide there's something else that excites us more. You know, I find as I'm getting older and slower, I really need to, I needed to kind of figure out where my biggest happy was. A lot of things, creating a lot of things made me happy, but not all things made me the same level of happy. Yeah, so I can tell creating a bunch of these, like a mass of these, is going to be a very time-consuming project. So it's just, I mean, there's no deadline, there's no show deadlines, there's nothing. I mean, Open Studios, if I do get in, I have enough stuff. I don't have to have anything special. It might be nice, but I don't have to have anything new. So I'm just kind of trying. I'm not always succeeding, but I'm trying to let myself go. Sandy said, I don't think I've ever seen you work with these bright colors before. I'm very intrigued. Think underwater, Sandy. Think underwater, coral reef. Okay, I'm not even going to bother to cut that thread because I know I have, voila, another set of thread that's already, or red thread that's already on the needle. Yeah, when I laid out, if you saw, maybe you didn't see a community post I did about laying out a whole bunch of future projects. And again, I just have my wax. I'm just going to drag my thread through it to hopefully lessen the amount of knotting I get. I'm not going to show you what I've got on the back because I can feel with my hands it's a horrible mess. So yeah, just trying to think about, so I picture these, Sandy, my little puff balls that I make covered with beads. Now I could, puff them up and then stitch the beads on, but then I have to hand hold them. And I really like having something in a hoop like this. Kat's, Barbara said, Kat, there's lots and lots and lots to do with the quilted piece and beadwork on top. Do you know the work of Tom Atkins? Here's a link to one of his pieces. Oh, thank you, Barbara. He's so inspirational. Kat, none of the backs of my projects are pretty. I gave up that a long time ago. I think when I was working on the Just Because books, I finally shut up that perfectionist. And it was my grandmother's friend who helped me learn how to embroider when I was very young. She really kind of set me, okay, I need to bring this needle up at least to get it out of the way. She really made me feel like my backs had to be as pretty as the front, which is, if you went to the Royal School of Needlework, that's what they would be telling you. I have no aspirations to that kind of perfection. If you are somebody that's able to do that, hats off to you. It's the reason why I can't do a lot of quilting and a lot of stuff that needs that precision, that needs measurements, because it's just not in my wheelhouse. And yes, I could practice, but I would never feel the confidence that I want in it. Barbara said, hey, oh, wait a minute. These are going to be so beautiful, said Sandy. I think I want to go snorkeling with you. You do realize I'm talking virtual, not actual. Yeah, I don't want to go actual snorkeling either, but virtually, sure. Barbara said, hey, Sandy, you came in when I was all excited about Tom Atkins. Barbara, I sure hope I didn't interrupt a good conversation. I'm rude like that. Please forgive me. Oh, you are too silly. Too silly. Kat said, when I make earrings and 3D plants, I try really hard to make my plants pretty, but otherwise I don't worry too much as long as they are secure. Yeah. And that's why I try to make things where the backs of stuff aren't going to show. I don't think in the coral reef that you would see the colors combined. So I do have some purple ones that I think would also be pretty, but I don't think I have time to do one more. And already we have a new knot. What a surprise. The other knots were lonely. We needed to add some more. It is what it is. I will put out another plug for the newsletter. It is going out just a little bit after I finish this live stream. I'm going to read it over one more time and make sure. It's a long one, but it is about the journey. So you can head over to the website and sign up if you want. You know, it was so funny, Kat, when you shared the pictures of the glass jars that you picked up recently. I think I have had all 3 of those over time. One of them a dog ran into, and a couple others I think I got rid of when we moved from the city out here because we just didn't have the room. But it's funny seeing the shape of some of the bowls and stuff can trigger things, trigger memories. Tanya said, I love a messy back on a piece. It makes me imagine all the motions and choices involved in making a piece, like a roadmap of a long journey. Yes. You know, and then, you know, if something is going to a show or a gallery or something like that, you know, then you end up covering up the back and you don't see that. Although there's someone, I can't remember who it was recently, I saw was hanging their work in such a way that you could see the front and the back. Yeah, I'm making more knots. I'm just going to let it go. Today, I do not have the energy to worry about it anymore. And when you read the newsletter, you will understand why. Well, I am ready for this fog to burn off. Did the sun come out at your place yet, Mouse? Because, man, I can't even see across the valley up here. It's really funny to see on the wildlife cams that we have the way the fog will trigger the cameras, and it looks like there's like all these, I don't know, it looks like something like you're in space with all the swirling, and it's just the fog. Oh, come on. This is very, very frustrating. Well, it will make them definitely secure with all those knots on the back, right? This is a good use, I think, for the tiny beads too, because I can picture them. Oh, still fog at your place too, yeah? Tally is loving it because it's not too hot for her. You know, in the summertime, she's just going to be parked on top of the AC. Makes painting difficult. Yes, in this kind of weather, and it takes forever to dry too, right? So let's see. If I wanted to work on just one during a live stream, it would probably take me the whole time. Yeah, I just wasn't sure stacking. Sue wanted to know if I knew I could stack beads. Yeah, I just wasn't sure that I liked the effect. Let me show you. If I trying really hard not to drop them, because while I might not find them in the carpet, Tally would. Everything goes in her mouth. Yeah, I think if I was going to do loops and stuff with them, I might do a whole one like that. And I'll just, because these are easy enough to take back off again, show you guys a little bit about what Sue's talking about. And she might have some more things. Best with beads of variant. Yeah. And I've done that on like the brown ones that's still not done yet. So I can put a whole bunch of beads on the needle. Yeah, I don't have any sequins, believe it or not, in my stash. So I do want to get some sequins. But I could make, can you see little loops like that? Which I think might be an interesting effect if they were all around on one piece. And I think beads on sequins would be a really good thing to do. And I probably need to get some sequins. All right. Oh, Tanya said, I posted a comment about considering a bead spinner to help with speeding it up, but it added a link to one on Amazon so you could see what I meant. And I think it deleted it, but they're on Amazon. Yeah. Hey, Sandy. Yeah. Destash in reverse. I would love some sequins if you have some that you want to give a new home to. Yeah, I do think that I've seen bead spinners before. It would be a fun reversal, Sandy, because I don't need a lot, but I think a few with the, oh yeah, I just remembered where I do have some sequins I haven't taken off yet. When I was going to Esme's sales all the time, I bought a bunch of, wait a minute here. No, I don't have a doctor. I don't have an eye appointment. My reminder thing is messed up. Some you've had for 50 years. You used a bead center once. I do feel like it cut the time in half. Interesting. Okay. I might need to check that out. But when I used to buy from Esme all the time, I did buy some things thinking about underwater, and it was kind of like lace that had sequiny things on them. I need to dig those out and see how I might use them. I mean, I have a lot of components to make up on the under the water stuff before I can start to put things together, but I definitely need to dig those out. Yeah, I would love some sequins in any of the colors that you might want to destash. Not a lot. I have another Sandy basket started anyways. Not a lot for the Sandy basket, but some odds and ends that didn't make it in the last box. So, okay, I had an I Love Lucy vision in my head with the bead spinner and me trying to scoop up the beads and them going all over the place, like if she was in the chocolate factory. Perhaps not, but I'll have to go look at them. Thanks for that reminder. You're going to get them out, huh, Sandy? You want a reason to unload some of the stuff right back to me. Yeah, but the thing is, I send you stuff that takes up a lot of space, and you send me little tiny sequins. Can't you just see it, Tanya? I mean, I can absolutely, yeah, it's the same reason why I couldn't do like ceramics on a, pottery wheel. Yeah, the clay would go everywhere. Spin painting, salad spinner painting, any of that kind of stuff. Because I'm pretty much a klutz. But I will check it out. Yeah, for a while, every time the Fire Mountain catalog came, I would go through all their clearance stuff because I could always find all this great stuff. It was just, yeah, I built a huge stash. I definitely want to just spend some time, now that I finished the big one, playing with some other techniques. I've got to get to work with the embellisher. I've got some ideas I want to use with that. Hey, Wendy, how are you doing? You making any progress on your projects? Sandy says that reminds me of a Lazy Susan spin once. That cleanup wasn't fun. Oh yeah. And the kids go like this, and loosened the lids on the salt and pepper shakers and then spin the Lazy Susan. Yeah, also not fun. Well, the one thing I hate doing is dropping the beads in the carpet because they sink down. You get a few off the top and then they sink down, and for the next month you're still digging out beads. Tanya said, have you thought about netting for this piece? Yeah, when I get to the construction phase, I have a lot of really great bright colored netting toile, however you say it. I've also got some shears. I've got tons of materials, but since I've just started, and there will be multiples of because I'm thinking for these seascapes, I don't know, the first one might be just like an 11 by 14, but it might be 18 by 20. See what I have out in the garage. I think I've got some different size things. And, building it will be really a lot of fun, but I have zero components built. So I've got to build a lot of the little, when I build a wildscape, I probably have 50 of these, and I'm just starting 2 of these. I'm not going to make 50 beaded ones, but I will make some in bright colors, and I will do some other different things to top them. I've got grasses. I've got so many things to do. Wendy said, all okay, busy fighting with cutting out felt circles. Toddler Tornado is off this week from Creche. I don't know what that is. Tanya said bead spinners are really like a small lazy Susan. They have a curved rim that keep the beads from flying out. Martha said, I've been looking for my tiny teardrop sequins for my hummingbirds, but can't find any. Oh, do you check eBay as well as Etsy? Because a lot of times when I can't find something on Etsy, I'm surprised to find it on eBay. I've been shopping a lot more there lately. Yes, that is our Wendy. Ah, daycare preschool. Okay, got it. Thank you, Wendy. Anybody know tiny teardrop sequins? Martha's looking for a stash. Mouse said, I think people have given up glitter because it goes everywhere and never goes away. Absolutely. I gave all my glitter to someone else named Sandy, so I didn't have to deal with it anymore. Sandy says, I will never grow up. Well, yeah, young at heart, right? Young at heart. Okay, these are a nice start. And the nice thing about at least actually getting this started is I've got the felt on here. I've got some more cut out, and I can just work on them, during TV time. Joanne said, Martha, try Cartwright's sequins. Are they on Etsy, Joanne? Or is it just a website? Isn't it funny? We tend to go to Etsy over an actual website anymore. Although I'm trying to look and see if the seller actually has a website, because I know it's better for them, less fees. Big Mama said glitter isn't loved. I thought it was fairy dust. It's a website. Okay. Did you hear that, Martha? Try Cartwright's sequins. It's a website. Kat said the only glitter I like at this point is the biodegradable stuff my friend puts in her soap projects. Mouse said, although it is kind of cute to see my dog with a random bit of sparkle. Wendy said, love you, Big Mama Sandy Moore. I changed the name to be a bit more private, and I love sunflowers. Yeah. All right. I think this is it for me today. Not a whole lot of progress, except, it's a plan, and it tells me, yeah, I'm going to do more. I'll do some oranges. I'll do some purples. I'll do more blues, reds. Have a variety. Okay, thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. Oh, Micah is a natural sparkle. I used to love Micah. Leave a thumbs up if you had a good time. And last reminder to sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and catch the next bit of my creative journey. It's a lot of beads I didn't have down earlier. You're right. It's going to be neat. It's going to be fun. And it's generating some more ideas. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great week.